Great. Well, good morning, everyone. Good to see you. Kind of can see you out there. Thanks for taking the time today to attend this session. My name is Matt Coppinger. I'm the Chief Technology Officer at Omnissa for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. I'm going to be taking you through, as a team, we're going to be taking you through Omnissa's platform and specifically modern Mac management. I'm honored to be joined today by a few of our key product managers at Omnissa that have flown over from the US. So Jon Duncan, who heads up product management for Workspace ONE UEM, Apple, and a few other platforms. And then Matt Zaske, who is one of our Apple product manager specialists. So I'm going to spend about 10 minutes today just talking about Omnissa in general, where we're at in the market, and our vision. And then I'm going to hand it over to Jon, who's going to talk you through kind of modern Mac management with Omnissa. And then Matt's going to dive into some of the key features that we've released recently or are coming out, I think, this week in our latest version of Workspace ONE UEM. But just before I start, a quick show of hands. How many of you have heard of AirWatch? Okay, a few of you. So AirWatch was acquired by VMware. How many of you heard of VMware? So AirWatch was acquired by VMware in 2014, and then VMware was acquired by Broadcom a few years ago. And as part of that transaction, the end user computing division, i.e. kind of AirWatch and the Horizon product set, was spun out of Broadcom, and this independent company called Omnissa was created. And our North Star, our vision, is about empowering employees to do their best work from anywhere through smart, seamless, and secure experiences. That's our North Star. That's our mission. We are a 4,000-person company dedicated to this mission. And there's very few companies in the world that can make that statement. And we're a growing company. We have over $1 billion in ARR. We're a $4 billion standalone business. We're growing. We're profitable. 26,000 plus customers globally. 7 of the top 10 Fortune 500 customers. As I said, 4,000 Omnissians worldwide. An experienced leadership team that come from VMware and AirWatch. So we've been in the end-user computing space for over 20 years. And we consider Omnissa to be a leader in the digital work platform industry. And to back up those claims, we're trusted by leading organizations across multiple industries. I'm not going to read all of these, but Omnissa is not necessarily a brand that is well-known globally. But through our AirWatch and VMware days, we've established a huge and significant install base globally with major customers both in the US, in Europe, and in Asia Pacific. Now, I was going to try and do my session without really going into AI, but in the world of AI, we feel it's actually time to recenter digital work around the human experience. It's really critical that we enable people in your organization, for your end users, to enable and secure the digital work experiences across any persona, always and anywhere. And that means accessing the hardware, the software, the apps, the data, the things they need to do their job in a seamless but secure way. Our other piece is really making sure that it's easier for you to do your job, to enable the IT staff to rapidly respond to what's happening in the environment and to easily address user needs. And so with that, we're kind of rebranding our products into this concept of the Omnissa platform. And you're going to hear us talk more and more about the Omnissa platform. So what is the Omnissa platform? The Omnissa platform is built from essentially 2 of our key products available today, 2 of our main products. You have, I almost said VMware Horizon. Omnissa Horizon, which is our virtual desktop infrastructure product. That allows us to deliver today, Windows and Linux applications from anywhere to any device. And in the future, being able to remotely access Macs as well. So that's our virtual desktop infrastructure platform. And then we have Workspace ONE, which is a collection of products really built around Workspace ONE UEM, which is our unified endpoint management platform. And that's helping you manage all of the hardware, the endpoints, apps, data, and users in your environment. But we have kind of a couple of key pillars around the Omnissa platform. The first one is consolidation without compromise. What we're seeing in our largest customers today is they're using multiple tools to get the job done. Sometimes 10, 12, 15 tools to manage their IT estate. And that's costly and it's complex. And so our belief is that the Omnissa platform can eliminate the need for all these tools by consolidating them into one platform without compromise. So we're dedicated to being able to onboard any persona, manage any endpoint, whether that's Apple, Windows, Android, and deliver all the apps, secure all the endpoints, and optimize experiences. And this is built around our commitment to an open ecosystem. We're not someone that has skin in the game around an operating system or a cloud service or an AI platform or a particular operating system or hardware. So we work with all of the device manufacturers, with all of the operating system vendors. We work closely with key productivity vendors and apps, and also deliver our platform across multiple clouds. We work closely with security vendors to integrate critical security platforms like CrowdStrike into Horizon and Workspace ONE. And then more recently, we're working with AI providers to deliver our own AI and enabling you to use your chosen AI models with our products. And when we talk about AI, one of the key things that we offer that I think is unique is we've really doubled down on automation. It's a key thing that we offer is not only do we do endpoint management, we have a really incredible automation platform. And we're moving that into what we call hyper-automation. And we believe that the fundamental building blocks of having an automation engine will enable AI to really help drive and simplify your life as administrators. We've unified our architecture. So both Horizon and Workspace ONE are now built on a set of centralized services around identity, data, AI analytics, machine learning. So we've centralized services that Horizon and Workspace ONE can share. And we've also rebuilt Workspace ONE UEM to a modern SaaS architecture. It is the most scalable and performant SaaS offering around UEM today. And so that allows us to scale very quickly, to provide real-time response to things that are happening in the environment, and also allow you to adapt from a security perspective to what's happening in your environment through automation. So really our kind of other North Star, around other than kind of helping people do their work, is around the autonomous workspace. We believe that the Omnissa platform is driving towards the autonomous workspace. So that's a self-configuring, self-healing, and self-securing IT system that is easy to manage and seamless for your users to access. Now, as I mentioned, one of the key things that's happening out there today is that customers are using multiple tools. They're leveraging a basic MDM offering that doesn't do everything. So they need to now go out and buy something that provides real-time visibility. They need to go and buy something that does automation. They need to buy something that does digital employee experience management, remote support, VPN, incident response. All of these things are individual tools that are available today in the market from multiple vendors. We don't want you to live in that space. It's costly, and more importantly, it's complex to integrate all of these systems. So the Omnissa platform delivers all of this. And this is kind of, I think, the secret in the industry right now is people don't realize we are not just MDM. Yes, AirWatch forged the way with MDM. We were one of the OGs with Android and iOS management, but we've expanded and increased our product capabilities significantly over the years. And with the spin out of Omnissa, that's allowed us to really get free of VMware and Broadcom and double down on our investments in end-use computing. So we're doing all of these things in a single platform that is typically 50 to 60% lower cost overall than some of the tools that you're trying to kind of hedge together today. But don't take my word for it. And I really hope you can see, I don't know if you can see some of the things up here. Gartner did an analysis of unified endpoint management tools. And when we say unified, that means, hey, look, we're not looking at a platform that just manages Apple devices. If you're just managing Apple devices today, maybe you are looking at a Jamf. But most people have different flavors of operating systems in their environment. They might be standardized on Mac, but you might have frontline users using Android, right? Or you might have some Windows users. So from a unified endpoint management tooling perspective, Gartner measured all of the vendors in this space around 4 key categories: unified endpoint management, autonomous endpoint management, security-centric management, and frontline device management. There are only 4 categories that they considered vendors in. We were pleasantly surprised to be ranked #1 across all 4 categories, which for us was extremely exciting to see and validation for our strategy and our investments over the year in committing to consolidation without compromise. We are number one. If you can't see where other players are, our friends in Redmond here are, I think, 4th on the first one. I think they're about 15th on automation. I don't believe Microsoft has an automation platform. Microsoft are about 14th here on security and about 4th on frontline device management. Jamf are about mid-table on each of these, actually. So it gives you a flavor of kind of where the key competitors are in this space. And I encourage you, if you scan the QR code, you can download this report from Omnissa and get more details around the evaluation of unified endpoint management tools. And we believe not only are we the best platform out there, we're also the lowest overall cost. Because we do everything in a single platform, that means it lowers your, the number of tools you're having to manage, operational costs, et cetera. So we're excited to see this, and it's really validating our investments that we've made over the years. So with that, I'm going to talk a little bit very quickly, kind of running over a little bit of my time, guys, sorry. I want to talk a little bit about Apple specifically. So we work very closely with Apple, and we see them, obviously, they're a leader in digital work. And I think, this is a study done a few years ago, and I think we all know it, right? I'm kind of preaching to the choir here, but 60% of users in many companies wish that their company would give them the option to use Macs. And we're certainly committed to making sure that Mac is a first-class citizen in many of the world's largest organizations today. But what we also wanted to do is we manage tens of millions of devices globally. Okay, I don't know if people are familiar with how big Omnissa is, but tens of millions of devices. And through our digital employee management or digital employee experience product DEX, we collect a lot of telemetry around all of these tens of millions of devices. And so we came up with basically collecting all the data, aggregating it, obviously anonymizing it, and then taking a look at actually what are the trends that we're seeing out there across industries, across platforms, across operating systems, across applications. And so we've created this State of the Digital Workspace 2026 report. Again, I encourage you to either go to our website or scan the QR code. This is an incredible report. I was blown away by the data that was in there. But just some highlights. Just if you're not convinced that Mac is better than Windows today, if you need some ammo to go back to your stakeholders to convince them that now is the time to move to Mac, is that Mac is consistently scoring better than Windows. From a performance perspective to the DEX score, Mac always is better than Windows. From a patching perspective, we see that Mac is patched much faster and much more reliably than Windows. But more important is things like forced shutdowns, like Windows system failures compared to Mac. 3 times as many forced shutdowns, 2 times as many app crashes, and 7 times as many app hangs, right? As people that have used Windows and Mac, you're all aware of some of the issues around Windows, but this report is great ammunition to convince your stakeholders that Mac is really the way to go forward. It also outlines, if you look at the data, it outlines the power of our DEX solution. The telemetry data that we get fed into our automation engine allows you to very quickly address issues, potential issues in your environment. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Jon Duncan, who's going to take you through specifically what we're doing with Mac management with Workspace ONE.
Thank you, Matt. So yeah, essentially, I want to kind of peel back the layer of the onion, go a little bit deeper into a lot of the things that Matt talked about. Again, Jon Duncan from Atlanta, Georgia. Happy to be out here, and this is a great show. Appreciate y'all having us. So, like I said, I'm just going to start peeling back and taking this layer by layer. This is meant to be kind of the one slide that you can take away of why people are managing Macs with us. But it goes through a handful of things. One is it starts with our alignment with Apple, and Matt talked a little bit about this, but as AirWatch, we were OG device management when Apple launched iPhones in the enterprise. We were there helping to make that happen. When Apple started pushing Mac into the enterprise, we were there to help that happen as well, and we're continuing our alignment. But obviously, as Matt touched on, this is consolidation across OS, right? So we talk about Mac, we talk about iOS, and all the other Apple products, but this is Android and Windows and even Linux as well. And I'm not going to spend too much time on that. And as I said, we're going to go when the other Matt takes over. he'll talk about some real specific details of new features in Mac, and I think those will be super interesting to you guys. But the other thing that I wanted to touch on a little bit is some of the things that Matt talked about in the slide that kind of built out with the brain at the end are some of the other components. So this is really beyond device management and other components that kind of plug in within the Omnissa platform that really help this along, help you along in your journey to manage Macs as well. Before I do that, just a quick touch on some customer case studies, and we also have a QR code up here that takes you to our landing page where there's a lot of videos and case studies and what have you. I'm not going to read through this. I think there's a few takeaways from these specific use cases, and all of which have Macs that we're managing with them. A is large numbers, right? We're talking 10s, 20s, 30s, and in some cases, even people who have hundreds of thousands of Windows machines as well. But these are large enterprises with complex needs that came to us, had used other tools, in one case, built their own tools around this, and decided that we were the right solution to help them move forward with their Mac management as well as other devices. So again, I won't read through each of these, but I think you kind of get the idea. This is, and we use this as kind of framework. We refer to this as the 5 pillars, and it was similar to the slide that Matt had that has essentially the steps of management, if you will, or the pillars between onboarding, configuration, OS updates, applications, and securities. This is how we look at managing all of the platforms that we manage, right, is these categories. Now, the way this slide lays out is the darkened rectangles. These are kind of the core Apple MDM features, if you will. And that's essentially, you're getting these out of the box pretty much with every MDM. But what we've tried to do is, within each of these categories, highlight some differentiators, some other things that we're doing, again, to help the admin manage their devices a little bit better. And I'm going to touch on some of these, and then Matt will touch on others as well. And I want to talk, like I said, there's some pretty key components in here. And again, first Matt, not to be confused with second Matt, alluded to some of these. But let me take them kind of piece by piece here. And I think when we talk about applications, obviously this, in a lot of ways, applications and the end user experience is one of the big things. It's what your end user's first experience. It might be the only experience they have with the solution. So with us, you get the Intelligent Hub, which provides you a single source for all your applications. It's also single sign-on, integrated typically. They can self-service applications, so if there's optional apps, they can install themselves. But this is also not only internal apps that you push out and VPP apps, but and I'll talk a little bit about, but this is even web and virtual apps as well. So it's one dashboard for your users to get to all of the critical applications that they need, and it's designed with privacy in mind from the start. And it is also a consistent experience across devices. As you see here, I've got a Mac and an iPhone, but it extends to all of our devices as well. So critical piece, like I said, it's one thing for you to be able to manage the device, but it's another thing for your users to have a consistent and efficient experience on their device. And this is a key piece of the puzzle, the Intelligent Hub. Likewise, as I said, when we get into, and Matt alluded to Horizon and talked about how with the spinoff, it wasn't just the AirWatch product or Workspace ONE, but also the Horizon product and our ability to virtualize. And in this case, what we talk about with Apple is bridging the app gap. And we're pretty uniquely positioned here to have all of these pieces into one umbrella. But essentially, with Horizon, you get the ability to virtualize applications and, again, provide those in the Intelligent Hub along with everything else. And you can see, and there's a lot of details as it relates to Horizon around the patented technology for how we actually deliver those applications in an expedient and efficient manner, integration in with hardware and applications as well to optimize those experiences. And then, again, very critically on the end user experience standpoint, these are all single sign-on, so it's completely seamless. They can launch a virtualized Windows app on their Mac without even knowing that it's a virtualized app. And it just works the way you would want it to. So again, key component of the platform for sure. So getting into the weeds a little bit more on the kind of traditional device management, And this will kind of lead into, we talked about DEX, and this will lead into some of that as well. But we talk about scripts and sensors. So scripts and sensors are easy ways for you to write script, and you see the languages mentioned up there, to not only retrieve additional device details that would be reported on the Omnissa platform, but you can also then take actions and build workflows, which I'll talk about in a second. And those workflows can include scripts as well. So this is a very powerful mechanism that, again, not only is it for Mac, but also for other platforms as well, but ultimately for you to control exactly the customization, the configuration, and the deployment of your Mac devices. And there's even, it mentions here, there's other customizations you can do for self-service. So there's ways for you to build these and actually launch them where a user can launch them from the Intelligent Hub as well. But like I said, one of the things that as these pieces start coming together, we talk about sensors and scripts, and where this really comes together is in our Freestyle Orchestrator, which is the low-code workflow editor, right? And as I mentioned, this is used for onboarding, this is used for configuration, that you can trigger these based on certain actions or attributes. So I can look at a sensor value to determine that a workflow needs to be kicked off, for example. So lots of power, and you see here, obviously we're not gonna go into great detail here, but really, really powerful, low-code way to build these workflows to help you to onboard and manage your Mac devices much quicker and more efficiently. This also then plays into, and this was where the state of the digital workplace, that's okay. This is where that data came from. So this is digital employee experience. Being able to retrieve data from these devices around crash, and this is being able to measure things like things happening with the OS and the hardware and the software and the apps, and if there's crashes and all of this. And again, it is cross-platform, but as it relates to Mac, being able to retrieve this data, report in a single platform where you're then analyzing it. And then as Matt alluded to, this is where automation kicks in as well, is being able to build workflows to identify how you can remediate problems before they become big problems. And this is like key component. And this also is where we integrate in with third parties as well. So if you're looking at, for instance, security, being able to identify vulnerabilities and react to remediate those before they become a larger problem. Again, huge piece of the puzzle and something that we're getting a ton of momentum on. This is also something that in the very near future, even a device that's managed by a third party other than Omnissa, you'll be able to register a Mac device and get this same data. So something to pay a lot of attention to as we move forward. A couple other pieces before I hand off to second Matt here. In the other picture, first Matt gave us all of the pieces that make up the Omnissa platform. And one of them that doesn't get talked about a lot but a lot of people will go out and buy a third-party solution for remote troubleshooting. This is built into the Omnissa platform as well. And it's called Workspace ONE Assist. Gives you the ability, again, it's cross-platform, but on your Mac, it gives you the ability to remotely connect into your device, into your fleet of devices and control them, identify problems in much faster, obviously troubleshoot problems in a much faster manner, and get users back up and running more quickly. Again, cross-platform as it says on the bottom here, but part of the Omnissa platform that's, like I said, a big part of the value. And it launches right from within the UEM console, so you pick a device, go into the menu, and it launches directly right into a remote session. You get remote view, remote shell, and remote file access, all from this one tool.
John, if I may, real quick, one of the actual cool things.
This wasn't on the script.
This wasn't on the script. I'm going to jump in, and hopefully I'm not stealing any thunder here. Is we have an ITSM connector. So if you're a ServiceNow customer or a BMC customer, we can actually connect UEM to that ticketing system, and you can take action within the ticket through UEM. So the UEM controls appear in the ServiceNow ticket, including assist. So you can literally launch from within your ServiceNow ticket a remote connection to a Mac and help troubleshoot there, which means it's the concept of shifting left. Rather than Mac admins having to deal with the minutiae of certain things, you can have your L1 team take actions like reset a password or connect to the user and help them with an application issue. So
It's a good call. It's a good call.
I wanted to make that.
Yeah, and there's commands available with that integration as well. So things like reboot and what have you that level 1 can actually take without having to give them full access to UVMs. It's a good call out. Thank you. Right. Let me know if I miss anything else.
We're just going to run over time.
This is actually my last slide, so this is all right.
Oh, okay. We're good.
Yeah, she could have waited, but then it's fine. So this is kind of another view of how it all kind of comes together, right? And when you look at all of the pieces from how we're gathering data, how we're managing devices, and you can see endpoint analytics and vulnerabilities, and so we're ingesting this information using what we refer to as Omnissa intelligence to gather insights around this data, provide dashboard and reports, also maybe suggested actions. And in a lot of cases, as we talk about automation and applying AI in this, it's shifting this from, okay, maybe I want to review a list of what I should be doing on my devices, but I want to actually take that action as an admin. Or maybe I start getting more comfortable with letting the tool actually automate this for me and take care of the 80-20 rule or whatever that is. But you have control over how much of that happens automatically. But again, this is all part of the platform. This is all power of the Omnissa platform and kind of how it all comes together. So anyway,
John, if I may one final thing. One thing that I didn't talk about really, and you see some of the integrations here, vendors like CrowdStrike and things like that through some of our trust network. But we also integrate heavily with Microsoft. A lot of people kind of see Omnissa versus at Microsoft. We partner with Microsoft. We support Entra ID. We support M365. We work very closely on their conditional access, partner APIs. We have a good relationship with Microsoft, and we integrate with them. So we think that M365 plus Omnissa platform is the best platform that you can have if you're deploying Microsoft applications and want a digital workspace platform. So we integrate extensively with Microsoft and enable you to deliver Microsoft applications across Mac and leverage Entra ID. And of course, we support other vendors such as Okta as well. We didn't really talk about Workspace ONE Access, which is our kind of identity access or federation.
Matt's going to talk about that a little bit.
Cool.
So.
Yeah.
He used to be my boss, so he still thinks he can boss me around. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to hand it over to second Matt here, take back to the slide that I brought up, and he's going to take you through a few more of the real specifics around Mac management and some of our new features. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, John, for covering those advanced capabilities within the Workspace ONE platform. I am second Matt. Happy to be talking to you all today about some of our recent releases we've had over the past year and a couple that are going to be released this month as well. So just hitting on these pillars a little bit more as you'll see as I go through this. So first up, we have focus enrollment and onboarding workflows. So these features kind of work together in order to deliver a more seamless onboarding experience to your users. So onboarding workflows specifically, instead of having all the profiles, apps, everything hitting the device at once the device is enrolled, more of a guided process, being able to say, install this profile first, then this app, then this script in a very guided fashion. And focused enrollment kind of, bringing that to the user's attention as to where they are in the onboarding process, how far they've completed, what's left, and providing them, a branded view with a nice message as they go through the process there. The focus mode refers to being able to lock them into this view, full screen, until the onboarding process completes and the device is deemed, ready to use. And also, it can be bypassed in case there's an issue that arises during the onboarding process and they need to get some help from support to get out of there, and it's not just going to brick the device or anything like that. So something we're very excited about releasing here very shortly, as it requires a future hub release, which is coming in May. Secondly, Platform SSO during Setup Assistant for automated device enrollment. This was a highly anticipated feature that was released or announced at WWDC 2026. So this allows you to bring the Platform SSO registration within the Setup Assistant panes during automated device enrollment. In the past, the user would go through ADE, log into the device, see the notification in the upper right that they needed to register for Platform SSO, and then it was kind of up to the user as to if they're actually going to click on it, go through the process correctly, and hopefully get registered. Bringing that into ADE allows that process to be seamless with their onboarding experience, creates the user account as well, so as soon as they hit the login window, they're able to log in straight away leveraging the IDP. So yeah, very excited to release this feature shortly. As you see, it's a 2604 release that's coming out this month. And kind of how we're doing this is we're making sure that the SSO extension app and profile are being installed prior to the device being released from the await configuration state. Next, this is something that's been in our product for a little bit now, as you see from the 2506 release there, so it's kind of year, month in our release numbers. We've built an automation pipeline between Apple's public GitHub repo and the Workspace ONE platform, specifically around declarative device management. So this allows us to ingest any new configurations that Apple releases, such as you saw with OS 26 and OS 26.4. Ingest them in the Workspace ONE platform, do some parsing logic, and then make them available within our data-driven UI for customers to then build out their DDM configs, push out to their devices. This allows us to be much faster and agile in terms of supporting these features as soon as they're released out in the operating systems versus how we did things in the past in the imperative device management world. So something that has aided us a lot in getting that same-day support for Mac and iOS devices as well. Next up here is something that I've been really close to in the development cycle is the enterprise app repo for macOS. So creating a curated repository within the Workspace ONE platform that admins can go, select the app they want to deploy. They'll be able to select the version from there and then straight away go through the app assignment process, very similar to assigning and deploying a VPP app within Workspace ONE, that type of simplicity. So eliminating the need of doing any sort of curating of the installers, repackaging of the installers, having to upload the actual installers as well, moving away from the Workspace ONE admin assistant tool, if you're familiar, where you had to parse the installer, generate the plist, make any modifications there. All handled within the platform now, so you're able to just easily search and deploy your apps. Also bringing in update functionality, so as new app versions become available, being able to deploy those out straight away. Whether the device has previously installed the app or sideloaded the app, being able to do patching from there. We're starting out with about 50 apps in the catalog to begin, and this was, a lot of analysis was done on what those 50 apps were going to be based off of the deployments that we see, with some plans to scale it in the future as we see fit from there. And finally, this is something that came out late last year that I just wanted to touch on again is Apple Platform SSO with our Omnissa Access IDP. You'll see kind of a short demo of the current registration process I alluded to earlier running in the background here. We do have plans to support the simplified setup within Setup Assistant coming later this year. But again, this just allows you to leverage your Omnissa Access IDP if you already have that footprint and that configuration built out to use Platform SSO on your Mac devices. Kind of a key benefit as well for using Omnissa Access for Platform SSO is if you also are leveraging an IDP that doesn't necessarily support Platform SSO directly, such as Ping or a Google Workspace. Omnissa Access allows that third-party IDP brokering to fully support Platform SSO in that type of configuration as well. So something to check out if your IDP doesn't currently support Platform SSO. And with that, kind of wraps up the session. There's some good links here in terms of training, documentation, our GitHub for samples. There's some good samples out there in terms of app deployment and some utilities and tools that we've built internally, so feel free to check it out. And any Q&A?
I think we've got 4 minutes for questions. I see someone running down. Do we have any questions out there, or any questions about some of the things we've talked about today?
I think that I'll check the app.
Should we set a record for a number of QR codes in a presentation?
I think we covered QR codes. And everyone's completely comfortable with just scanning random QR codes, right?
I think we got a hand. I see a hand.
Go for it.
You realize how bright these are.
I know this is focused on Mac, but can this work for Chrome OS? I know you mentioned it works for Windows. Would it work for
Yeah, we have,
Yeah.
Chrome OS is a supported platform by the
Yeah, the
platform
question
as well.
was, does this all work for Chrome OS? Yes, we support Chrome OS as a platform.
Yeah.
You know, we support
iOS,
I mean,
Android.
we obviously support iOS, iPad OS, Mac OS, Windows, Linux. We support some of the AOSP-based like VR devices like Meta, Pico, HTC. We support Vision OS with Apple Vision Pro. We've just implemented support for MQTT, specifically around supporting printers out there. So we're definitely doubling down on that cross-platform support. Some of the work that Jon has done on our Linux agent allows us to manage things like RFID readers. You know, anything that's running Linux, we can manage. In fact, funny story, Jon worked very closely with NVIDIA to manage NVIDIA Jetson. And NVIDIA Jetson is the chip that's in, I think, almost all of the humanoid robots out there today outside of Tesla Optimus. So we got you covered. When you start deploying the AI legion of humanoid robots, you can use Workspace ONE UEM to hit that kill switch and shut them down.
Making sure there's a kill switch,
Yeah.
just so that you just.
Great question, though. Thank you. There's got to be maybe one more. Don't be shy.
Realize how bright these
There's a
lights
couple in the app here.
Oh,
Let's see.
okay, yeah, go
are.
for it.
Anything we want to answer?
I don't know. We'll see. Why is monkey-based app install and patching in Workspace ONE not highlighted much? Will it get updated and further maintained? Yes. So as the question alluded to, we do use Monkey in the backend for app management on Mac. It's something that we're continuing to support. We're looking to add Monkey 7 support in the future releases of Intelligent Hub this year. So yeah, as we continue to grow and invest in that area, we're looking to fully support all the different package info keys and where that makes sense within the platform.
Yeah, second question, you mentioned that platform SSO during ADE is coming in 2604 release. What's different about that release? At this moment, you can already deploy the company portal. It's a Bootstrap app, and once Microsoft supports it,
Yeah.
the enrollment should be possible on all the releases.
Yeah, so yes, deploying it as a Bootstrap app is kind of half the solution there. What the release really does is make sure that the company portal app specifically, as well as your platform SSO profile, are installed before we release the device from the await configuration state. If you were to do it today in like UEM 2509 or something like that, it's most likely that the device is going to exit that state before that Bootstrap package has been confirmed installed, and it would just skip the registration
You
process.
might get lucky. It might get there before, but it's
But
this,
you
this
don't need a
ensures.
company portal app, right? Intelligent Hub now supports platform SSO.
It
to
depends.
Entra ID.
Depends on your IDP.
Yeah.
So like if you were leveraging pure Entra, yes, you would need the company portal app.
Yeah, but if you're using Okta, you
would
need
need
to
Okta
make sure the
Verify.
Okta Verify app is.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Sure.
Anything else from the floor? I think Barry White from the corner. We're good. Thanks, guys. Thank you very much.
Appreciate y'all
Great,
taking
thank you.
time.
Thanks for attending today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.